Okay, so at this point I've actually completed the first few steps, but this is all this kit laid out, ready to go. So step one was installing these bolts here. These are for the swings. There's also another bolt that actually goes in on either side there, but they don't attach to anything. It's just to prevent the board from cracking, apparently. And the next step was to add these triangle brackets. Pay attention, because on one side it doesn't have any overhang and it uses these two holes. But on the other side there is overhang and it uses the other two holes, not the ones closest to the corner. So that's something to keep an eye on. The next step was to create the A-frame, or whatever you call it, on the far side of the swings. Quite easy, just bolting the crossboard here to the 3, and then at the top putting a couple bolts in here to create the A-frame. Next was creating the monkey bars. Here was an issue, one of which was, it says right here, drill the holes yourself. So these aren't actually pre-drilled. As you can see on the end here, there are no holes there. So before you put your wood screws in, you put it in, you line it up, and then you drill down with the 1/8 bit to create a guide hole, or a pilot hole I should say, and then you screw it on. Another issue with this step was, and I'm glad I caught it, you actually have 3 screw holes here, and the ones on this side are actually on the bottom, which is a little bit odd, but it's definitely accurate because it shows here 3 on the top, 3 on the bottom. Also make sure that you have the overhang on the correct orientation. The ones with the screws on the bottom overhang on the left, so overhang on the left, screws on the bottom. Now we're building the ladder for the monkey bars, and again you had to pre-drill a hole before putting in the screw, and again 1 screw on the top and 1 screw on the bottom. Okay, so the first part with the ladder is there. Next we insert the screws on each side here. These ones are screws, not bolts, so just be careful not to overstrip that, or that would be a problem. And then 3 bolts on this bottom, 1 here, there, and there, and that's the end and the ladder to get up onto the monkey bars. So now I'm assembling the swing arm, or the swing board where the swings will hang, onto the A-frame we did earlier. And we do that by making sure that the one side with the overhang bolts on to the, when you're looking at the outside with this crossboard facing out, make sure that this is on the left, and then you bolt it on using 1 bolt here, and again 1 bolt here. You'll also insert a wood screw here, but make sure you do a little pilot hole into this side with a drill bit, as the instructions, because you don't want to split. So, and then so yeah, that's the part of the beam, or part of the that's the A-frame connected to the swing arm. Okay, the next step was to put the bracket onto the monkey bars, have a person hold it, put a bolt through on either side, and then 2 screws underneath, and that'll put on the bracket. You can do that for both sides. 2 screws and a bolt, and remember to drill a little bit first and give it a pilot holes. Okay, day 2 starting. The next part is pretty easy. 2 long boards, 1 at the top, 1 across, 1 at the bottom. All the holes are pre-drilled except for this one, which is a screw. You have to pre-drill that a little bit as well so you don't crack the wood. Okay, so this is the next step. Creating the frame for the swings that will be connected to the playhouse area. Very easy. I have it on the wrong side here. One of these was not pre-drilled. You have to drill it in and then use the screw to go in. Same on the other side, and on the bottom, they're all pre-drilled. There's 5 bolts on the bottom, and then on the side here, this one was not pre-drilled as well. You drill in there so it doesn't split, and then you use the long screw to go in. Okay, so the next step was to simply add this board. Oh, sorry, not that board. We did that board. The next step was to add this board and these 2 screws here, and then this board along here, and these 2 screws into there. Everything in this step was pre-drilled. And of course, this was using the last, I guess, of course, the frame we made in the last step. Okay, the next step was to go ahead and take the 2 frames we built. This is one here, and this is another one here, and you connect them together with these 2 boards here and the one down the middle. Now the 2 holes down here, and the hole here, and the hole here are all pre-drilled, but these are actually screws on the top here. Now this is very important to get level, because this one beam actually, once you get it on there, can teeter this way and that. So, and you can drill it in anywhere you want. So be very careful to make sure this is level and square as you're putting this together, because it's the frame of the playhouse area. Okay, now just below where we added the last step here, we put the board along the bottom. The next step, we're going to put 2 rails that go up here, and that's going to be the ladder for the rock wall. So those are the 2 rungs, I guess, not rungs, but supports for the rock wall area. They are screwed in manually using wood screws. There's no pre-drilled holes either at the top or the bottom. Okay, so now we've added the rock wall ladders. Make sure these are evenly spaced. You can put them anywhere you want. They're not pre-drilled, so wood screws all up and down each side. A pre-drilled hole in the planks to put these rock pieces, and then also a single wood screw in the bottom as well. Okay, so now we've added this board, this brace here, and this board here, and these 2 boards will act as the platform on the top of the treehouse area. I've also added the bottom area for the box here, for the sandbox below, and the holes that were all pre-drilled except for there's 2 on each side up here, and then also at the bottom here they weren't pre-drilled, so you had to drill pilot holes and then drive screws or driven bolts into those. So it's starting to come together. That's the treehouse area. The slide will come off, I'm not sure what place, I think right here, but don't quote me. So yeah, we're starting to make some good progress. Okay, the next step is to find out where you want to put it, because this step is where you drive in the stakes. The bottom of all the, actually the 2 front ones and the one back diagonal, you drive a stake in to anchor it, and you use 2 wood screws on this side to anchor it to the main beam. Okay, so the next step, actually, first thing we did was install this joist along the bottom, and to do that we actually had to temporarily remove this bolt, move this over, install 2 screws, wood screws into it on this side, and the same on this side. You had to measure 2 1/4 inches down on this side, and then on this side I believe it was 2 3/8, but double check your instructions. After that, we place the boards down, evenly space them. You start with the end boards because they have this cutout around the beams, and the middle ones, middle 5 are all the same. So you started with the outside 2 and put these down, spaced them, and they're all held down with 2 screws on either end and 1 screw in the middle to the joist. Okay, so the next thing we did was put on the chalkboard, and by chalkboard I mean this green piece of fabric. It's kind of disappointing, it's just a piece of fabric that you can use chalk on, but so be it. So for this part, we attached this board here and this board here to the back. You put 2 wood screws here, one at the top, and then you leave these ones undone so you can slip the fabric behind, and you undo this bolt so you can also slip the fabric behind. And then it's simple as laying up the fabric and bolting it in around on the back. After those are in, you bolt the front on, and then along the side. They say to do it on the front, but I was trying to make it tight, so I did mine around the side, but you know, what have you. And yeah, so you just bolt it on there so it's good and solid. And the next job was easy peasy, just adding these 4 guard rails to this side. Just 4 wood screws each, 2 on the bottom, 2 on the top. Next step was adding these slats on the inside, or I should say the outside, to make the little windows area. It's pretty easy, just wood screws up and down each side, 2 or 1 on each end of each of these boards, and then 2 in the top one, and then the same for these, 1 in each going up, and then 2 at the top one. Next we put on the shelf for the bottom here, and there are 4 screws in the top, and then on the other side here there are a bracket there. Also right now we added these 2 on either side, held in with 4 screws here, and then as well a bracket there, and that's going to help anchor down the tent roof on the top. All right, the next step was to put across that beam there and that one. This one had a pre-drilled hole at the bottom right there, and then a single screw on this side and 2 screws down onto this. Then you put a single screw on either end of the tarp or canopy to hold it in the top, and then 5 along each end. And then you have the tent on the top. We put on the canopy, and it's as easy as putting the bolts on, feeding the awning through the bar through the awning, and then hooking it up with 1 bolt on either side. This was really easy, just bolting on the sink and the oven, and the kit for the toys to hang, or the cooking utensils to hang. They had it facing the outside in the instructions, but we decided to put it on the inside. Alright, the next part was putting on way back at the beginning when we made the monkey bars. Now we attach them to the fort area. This is a pre-drilled hole with a bolt, 2 screws, 4 screws actually, 2 here, 2 here, and you use the T-nut I use so common. This one was pre-drilled into this, but there was no hole here, so you had to pre-drill a hole, a guide hole for that, and then that bolted into 2, and then for added reinforcement you put the bracket around, and then 2 wood screws on either side. And there you go, the monkey bars are now attached. The next step is to put in stakes into the ground to anchor it down, but if you're anything like me, a few miscalculated whacks and it starts to fall apart pretty easily. This should be in deeper. I'm not going to go anymore, otherwise it would just disintegrate the stake altogether. So you might want to get a few extra one of these on hand if you're anything like me and you make, you know, a 1/2 inch miss and it starts to chip the way and it starts to split. So I'll probably replace this in the future, but for now, just one of them pro tips for everyone out there. The next thing we did was put the slide on, and that was very easy. You just drill 3 guide holes there, and then 3 screws hold the slide in place. So we attached the swing set assembly, and again with the stakes, I'm gonna buy new ones because they break apart as soon as you hit them. I think maybe some metal ones that you could anchor on there somehow might be better, just an opinion. But this is added with 2 bolts here and a single screw here. And there you have it. You put on the swings and you're good to go. It comes with 2 of these, but our little one isn't big enough yet, so we have our old swing hooked up to there. And yeah, it's a pretty good set. As I said, I would probably use different anchors, well, I will buy different anchors because these ones aren't that great. Other than that, I'm pretty impressed with it. It did take me a good solid day and a half to put together. I was doing most of it by myself. I did have a helper when needed, but and you will need one for a few spots for sure, but about a day and a half's work, good day and a half to get it all together. I was taking my time, but yeah, I guess you could do it probably in a day if you had 2 people working on it. For sure you could do it in a day. So there you have it. Post any questions below. If you like this video, subscribe. Thanks for watching.